Have you ever found yourself wondering how great minds like Marcus Aurelius faced their mornings? What stops us from getting out of bed with purpose? Perhaps the secret lies in something much deeper than willpower. Stay with me and discover how Stoicism can transform your start to the day. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, left us precious lessons on how to live and, above all, on how to start each day with purpose. In this video, we will explore his teachings and how to apply them to wake up early and energized. Get ready to discover more about discipline, serenity, and resilience. Chapter 1. Why wake up early? There is something sublime and contradictory in the moment when the day breaks. It's vigil. The world outside stirs in whispers as if waiting for your presence. Marcus Aurelius, in his search for simple and powerful truth, captured this moment with almost divine precision. At dawn, when you are reluctant to rise, keep this thought in mind. I am awakening to the work of a human being. There is no more elegant way to remind ourselves that every dawn is a summons, an invitation to life. The act of waking up early transcends the mere formality of opening your eyes. It is a silent manifesto against inertia, a refusal to give in to the torpor that binds us to the comfort of our bed. Each morning carries within it the potential of a new story, not yet written but full of promises. The big challenge is not just leaving the warmth of the blankets, but confronting the uncertainty that the day holds. Now, imagine a craftsman named Lucius. He, like many of us, found in the morning gloom the temptation to postpone. It was market day, and he knew that the best deals happened before the sun even came out in full. Still, Lucius chose to turn over in bed, seeking a few more moments of comfort. When he finally got up, the market was already dispersed. The best goods had been sold, and opportunities were scarce. This small act of hesitation cost him more than profit. It cost him the sense of purpose that shapes days well lived. Waking up early is not just a matter of discipline, but of intention. It's choosing to be part of something bigger, assuming your role. On the vast stage of existence, every morning is an empty stage where your entrance can mark the beginning of a grand spectacle. For Marco Aurelio, getting up was not just a physical necessity, but a philosophical act. He understood that the time we spend in bed reluctantly is a waste of life. Why then do we postpone the moment of getting up? Maybe it's because dawn confronts us with the weight of responsibility. Getting up early means accepting that the world awaits us with all its demands, but also with all its possibilities. Marcus Aurelius, in his wisdom, did not see this as a burden, but as a privilege. The privilege of serving, of creating, of existing with purpose. For those who are still reluctant, the lesson is clear. It's not just about overcoming laziness, but about understanding that every morning is a gift. Time, like dawn, waits for no one. And as the sun rises, regardless of our hesitations, we are reminded that the time to act is now. Chapter 2. Understanding Stoic Discipline. Discipline, in the Stoics' view, is the cornerstone on which a virtuous life is built. Zeno of Citium, the visionary who laid the foundations of Stoicism, argued that virtue was not just a moral quality, but a daily practice. And among all the virtues he extolled, discipline occupied a prominent place, being the axis around which everything revolved. Waking up early, therefore, is a practical manifestation of this virtue. It requires a kind of silent courage, a daily confrontation with the desire to remain in comfort. It is, in Zeno's words, the art of balancing immediate impulses with greater objectives. This is not a simple morning routine. It is a ritual that shapes character. Sometimes the hardest obstacle to overcome is the simplicity of the act. Getting out of bed seems so trivial, so meaningless, but it is precisely this banality that hides its depth. Discipline lies in seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary, in realizing that each small decision contributes to the whole. Imagine, if you will, a young girl named Julia, living in a small village. Julia decided she wanted more from life than the predictable days unfolding around her. To do this, she started waking up at 5 in the morning. At first, it seemed like a purposeless sacrifice, but over time, it became his moment of greatest clarity. While the rest of the village was still sleeping, Julia planned her day, set her goals, meditated on her choices. It wasn't long before those around him began to notice his change, inspired by his renewed energy. Discipline, however, is not limited to the action of waking up. It extends to how we prepare for this moment. A disorganized room or an irregular sleep schedule are obstacles we put in our own path. Discipline begins the night before, when we adjust the details so that the morning is an invitation, not a battle. Ultimately, Stoic discipline is not an external imposition, but a pact with oneself. It's a reminder that we are more than our fleeting desires. It is the ability to see beyond the now, to recognize that each choice, no matter how small it may seem, builds the person we want to be. Zeno knew this, and that is why he, like Marcus Aurelius and many others, considered discipline not just a virtue, but an art. Chapter 3. Overcoming the desire for comfort. The desire for comfort is a seductive force. It arrives without warning, in the form of a soft pillow, a warm blanket, or that lazy moment that seems to go on forever. However, Stoicism teaches us that true comfort lies not in immediate pleasure, but in the freedom that comes from controlling our impulses. Seneca, with his relentless lucidity, stated, "Nothing is more pitiful than a man who hesitates, who gives himself up to sleep as a refuge from work." In these words, we find a call to question what prevents us from acting. It's not easy to give up comfort. After all, it offers us an illusion of safety, a space where time seems to slow down. However, it is in this false shelter that many opportunities are lost, slipping through our fingers like sand. Those precious 5 extra minutes that seem harmless accumulate into a balance of inertia that takes us away from our goals. Stoicism, with its brutal clarity, does not ask us to avoid comfort out of asceticism, but to face it with the awareness that it can be a trap disguised as a reward. Now imagine a young man named Marcus, someone who constantly postponed the start of his morning. He believed that responsibilities could wait, that the sun would be forgiving of his delay. On one such morning, a close friend who had promised to help him with an important project arrived early, only to find Marcus still sound asleep. The opportunity for collaboration was lost, and with it, a friendship began to fade. This story is not about guilt, but about the small decisions that shape our lives. To overcome the desire for comfort, it is necessary to reprogram the mind. Every time the body asks for more rest than necessary, it's an opportunity to remember that life doesn't happen while we're lying down. The fight against laziness is not a grandiose battle, but a series of small confrontations, where each victory, no matter how small, builds inner strength. The Stoics believed that freedom comes from self-discipline. Giving up immediate comfort is paving the way for a more meaningful life. There is no need to completely reject pleasures. Rather, it is essential to put them into perspective. By overcoming the desire for comfort, we choose ourselves. We choose to be protagonists, not mere spectators of our own stories. Chapter 4. Connecting with a greater purpose. To exist without purpose is to wander along a road without a destination, where the days pass like a fog that never dissipates. However, waking up early, when done with intention, becomes an act of connection to something greater. Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This quote, simple in its depth, reminds us that every morning is an opportunity to discover, grow, and contribute. The greater purpose is not an abstract concept. It is, in fact, deeply personal, a compass that guides our actions and gives meaning to even the most routine tasks. Without it, waking up early becomes just a matter of empty discipline, a soulless imposition. But when we understand, because we are rising, awakening takes on a new dimension, Think of Lara, a teacher who, after years of routine, felt that her days had lost color. One day, inspired by an old text by Marcus Aurelius, she decided to look for something beyond the classroom. She began writing about her experiences as an educator, waking up at the first light of day to dedicate herself to writing. Before long, her words resonated with others, and she realized that her purpose was not just to teach, but to inspire. Purpose doesn't have to be something grand or distant. It can be in the little things. Helping a friend, improving a skill, or simply doing something that brings genuine joy. When we wake up with a clear intention, our actions become more aligned, and the day takes on an almost magical fluidity. Reconnecting with this purpose requires reflection. Before bed, ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish tomorrow? Why does this matter? This simple habit can transform your relationship with mornings. Instead of seeing them as an obstacle, you will begin to see them as a stepping stone to what really matters. The Stoics challenge us to see beyond the immediate, to seek something that transcends our fleeting desires. Marcus Aurelio, in his meditations, often reflected on his role as a leader and human being. He knew that each day brought with it responsibilities, but also opportunities to serve and grow. So, when you get up, think about what you can offer the world. Your purpose is not just a guide. It is an inexhaustible source of energy and motivation. When connected to it, waking up early stops being a sacrifice and becomes a privilege, a chance to live fully and meaningfully. Chapter 5. Practicing morning serenity routine, often seen as a trap for creativity, is actually the foundation on which we build our most productive days. The Stoics, masters of seeing order in chaos, understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelio, with his always practical wisdom, wrote that the conscious repetition of good practices shapes not only character but also destiny. So by establishing a solid morning routine, we're not just filling time, we are creating a firm path that leads us to our best selves. The secret to an effective routine is not its complexity, but its consistency. Imagine for a moment a young girl named Helena. She lived in a small village by the sea, where the days seemed to slide past each other, indistinguishable. One morning, inspired by a traveling friend, she decided to create a sunrise ritual. I woke up before the sun, walked to the beach, and wrote in a diary. It was a simple, almost unpretentious practice, but as the months went by, Helena realized that these mornings shaped not only her mood, but also her ability to face challenges. The beauty of routine is its predictability, which provides an anchoring point amidst life's uncertainties. However, it should not be seen as a straitjacket. Rather, it must be flexible enough to accommodate the unexpected, but solid enough to offer stability. It's like a garden that we tend daily. There may be storms, but continuous cultivation ensures that the plants flourish. The Stoics knew that repetition is a form of learning, not just intellectual but also emotional. Every day we follow our routine with intention. We strengthen the connection between our values and our actions, and this synchrony is what allows us to grow constantly, even in times of adversity. Those who resist the idea of a routine often do so out of fear of losing spontaneity. However, like a musician who masters the fundamentals before improvising, routine gives us the foundation we need to explore life more freely. By mastering the beginning of the day, we create a rhythm that accompanies us until the end. Therefore, building a morning routine is not just an organization tool, but an act of self-care. It's a daily reminder that the control we seek in the external world begins within us. By waking up early and following our morning practices, we declare to the universe that we are ready for whatever comes, not as victims of chance, but as authors of our own story. Chapter 6. The value of habit. There is something undeniably special about the early hours of the day. It is as if the world in its vastness offers a moment of respite, where silence takes over and time seems to slow down. This instant, as brief as it is powerful, carries within it a transformative potential. The Taien Stoics, always attentive to what is sublime in simple things, saw these times as a unique opportunity for introspection. Seneca, for example, said that true wisdom is found in silence, where the mind can finally hear its own thoughts. The silence of the mornings is not empty. It is, in fact, a space full of possibilities. It is where we can reconnect with what really matters, away from the constant noise of the modern world. Imagine a man named Augusto, who lived surrounded by the hustle and bustle of a big city. Every morning he got up before dawn, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. He would sit on his porch, where the only sound was the distant birdsong, and allow his mind to wander. It was in these moments of stillness that he found the answers to questions that had tormented him for years. He said, "Serenity that silence offers is a gift, but not one that comes without effort. To achieve it, you must first let go of distractions. Put your cell phone aside, step away from the screens, and simply be present. It is an act of courage in a world that bombards us with stimuli at all times. Yet, as we embrace this silence, we discover that it does not isolate us, but connects us to ourselves and to the universe around us. The Stoics believed that silence was not just a pause, but an active state of reflection. It is in this space that we analyze our actions, review our values, and plan our future. The silence of the mornings in particular is special because it finds us in a virgin state of mind, not yet contaminated by the pressures of the day. It is at this moment that we can practice gratitude, a simple but transformative habit. By sitting in silence and reflecting on what we have, on the small and large blessings that make up our lives, we experience a lightness that prepares us to face any challenge. The silence of the mornings, then, is not just a space of rest, but a fertile ground for hope. Finally, by cultivating the habit of seeking morning serenity, we create an internal refuge that we can return to whenever necessary. Just as dawn does not depend on our actions to occur, serenity does not require perfection, but presence. By valuing these silent moments, we embrace not only the day that begins, but the very essence of who we are. Waking up early is more than a physical challenge. It is a Stoic practice that connects mind, body, and purpose. If Marcus Aurelio found the strength to start the day with determination, you can, too. Try adjusting your routine and see how your mornings will transform. Did you like this content? Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss any updates. And of course, share with someone who needs to start their day with more purpose. FAQs 1. How can Stoicism help me wake up early? It teaches discipline, purpose, and the search for balance, which are fundamental to an effective morning routine. 2. Why is Marcus Aurelio a reference for waking up early? His writings in meditation show how he dealt with the challenges of awakening and daily discipline. 3. Does waking up early really make a difference in productivity? Yes. Studies and reports show that starting the day early has a positive impact on organization and focus. 4. How can I make this a habit? Practice small changes like adjusting your sleep schedule and establishing a consistent morning routine. 5. Is it necessary to meditate to follow a Stoic morning? It is not mandatory, but meditation helps you achieve the desired serenity and focus. Try and adapt to your reality.